3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're all having a great start to your holiday season. I've got another review here for the Real Christmas series. Got a review for A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas, which came out in 2011. The original title was A Very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas. So I will be the first to admit, I don't remember the first two Harold and Kumars. As a matter of fact, I don't remember liking them that much. I remember kind of being like, this is, as someone who loves weed, I remember kind of going, yeah, this is stoner comedy, but I thought the first one was actually funny. I remember the second one not being the biggest fan of it. I thought it was okay. Neil Patrick Harris was great, not surprising there, but I was really curious to see. I remember when they announced the third one, just to kind of see what I would think of it. And I remember, if memory serves correctly, I saw this I think I saw this Christmas Eve by myself, and like treated myself to a solo date, or a Josh date as I call them. And I will say, this is like the Bad Boys for Life of the Harold and Kumar movies for me, because this is my favorite one out of the three. Even more so than the first one. I think this film balances the heart that you kind of need for a movie this insane, along with some stuff about the series that I really do enjoy. So the plot itself takes place a couple, so unlike the first and second Harold and Kumar, where it takes place like the next day, this film picks up a couple years later after the events of the second one. Harold is he's working on Wall Street. He's moved into the house with the picket fence and everything. He's got his wife, I want to say. I believe I believe her name is Maria, I want to say. Because I think Vanessa is the one that is Kumar's ex. But I digress. But Harold is married. He's got his life going, and Kumar is just still the stoner sitting on the couch, not doing shit with his life. His ex shows up again. I believe her name is Vanessa. Says, "Hey, I'm pregnant." Kumar has a very stoner reaction. Again, as someone who loves weed, I've definitely had points where my partner said something and I kind of go, "Wait, what?" But I think someone telling you that they're pregnant, in theory, would sober you up pretty quick, but not Kumar. Kumar's kind of like, "Oh, well, that's kind of crazy." Like, yeah, what's the line? I think he says like, "I would pull out right after," or something like that. It's something like that. And I was like, "Wow, that's like, good grief!" And that is something I will say about these movies that I really do appreciate. They are unapologetic with how incredibly vulgar and at points disgusting they are. I actually appreciate that. Like if you're gonna go balls to the wall, go balls to the wall. But something about this movie that I completely forgot about: the Santa that Kumar sitting in his lap. That's Patton Oswalt, who sells him the weed that gets us to the title sequence, which I thought was fucking excellent. If there's anyone I would love to smoke weed with, it would be Patton Oswalt. Two, this movie is actually paced really well. I remember thinking back on it, thinking initially started off pretty slow, but no, everything that it kind of presents, as far as even Harold being at his job and trying to find a gift for his boss, and that leads to Bobby Lee getting a TV, and they just take a total crack at how 3D has jumped the shark. And I will say, I don't have a 3D TV. I have a 4K TV because, nerd. But even though it's not in like true 3D, you can definitely tell the spots where 3D is supposed to be there, and actually made me kind of duck my head and kind of bop and weave a little bit. So even though you're not seeing, the 3D to its full potential, I still think the spots where the 3D is supposed to go actually work surprisingly well. So Harold and Kumar, they're separated, and his father-in-law shows up, Mr. Perez, who's played by Danny Trejo, which that was the biggest surprise. Was I forgot Danny Trejo was the dad in this, and he is. If you haven't seen the rise and the rise of Danny Trejo, I would highly recommend you seek it out. It is well worth your time. Speaking of a guy I would love to talk to, I think he is just absolutely incredible, and he is so terrifying in this. He has this whole the movie itself really does play with a lot of racial comedy, which, I mean, 2011, you might be able to get away with that more. But again, I appreciate the absolute set that this movie has to go. We're gonna try to basically offend everyone if you don't like that. Tough shit. Mr. Perez, Carlos, that's his actual name. He says, because Danny, not Danny, Kumar. Oh my gosh, Harold, that's what I meant. Good grief. Harold even goes, oh, because Carlos shows up with this caravan, really, it's like trailer filled with his family members. They go ahead and just basically invade the house, kind of like that one Boondocks episode, and and Kumar or Harold makes a comment of, oh, I guess Timo, I think Timo's his name, made parole. And Carlos even goes, oh, well, not exactly. Anyway, so we've got everyone here, and and the look on Harold's face, kind of like, what the fuck? It's a very funny setup to just how the family really does fuck up the program. This film has some moments of very dark comedy that made me incredibly happy. Mr. Perez tells the story about Christmas and why Christmas is so important to him, and and they flash back to him as a kid, and he still has the machete facial hair, like the handlebar mustache and everything, and I that shit made me laugh so fucking hard, and it's never acknowledged. It's like, yep, he had facial hair when he was 8 years old. What do you care? And his mother goes through a straight up Batman's parents' crime alley origin story. That's how he became so invested in Christmas, and that in particular had me rolling, because they cut to Harold, and Harold even kind of like, wait, what? That's what happened to your mom? Like, yeah, that's what happened. It's such a funny joke, and it really does set the table for how insane this movie is going to be. So, as I mentioned, Harold and Kumar are separated. Carlos, Danny Trejo's character, brings this epic Christmas tree, like a 12-foot tall tree that I guess he'd been growing, I think they say for 8 years. Harold shows up, or Harold is at his house. Kumar shows up because a package gets dropped off at Kumar's place, their old apartment. He goes ahead and drops it off to Harold along with his new best friend, who's I believe is Adrian, who's played by Arneer Bloomfield, I believe is how you say it. But I loved him in this because he's just that awkward, almost like a cool Napoleon Dynamite type. But Kumar goes to drop the present off at Kumar or at Harold's. Harold lets him in. It's a joint. Go figure. They go ahead and Kumar lights it, goes to smoke it. Harold tries to throw it out of the house, out of the window. Joint comes back in the window through magic, burns the tree down, and so then Harold and Kumar are on this quest to go ahead and find a replacement tree, and it leads to a baby being high on every drug basically that you can think of. It leads to an epic beer pong game. It leads to them going ahead and being reintroduced to NPH, Neil Patrick Harris himself, who I just have to take a second and say, Neil Patrick Harris, between just off of Netflix's A Series of Unfortunate Events alone, I would think Neil Patrick Harris is the shit. But then you add in that he was by far my favorite part of How I Met Your Mother, despite how shitty that ending is, because my God, is it shitty, especially the ending for Barney, which is just, I digress. But Neil Patrick Harris in this, he's having so much fun with this. I want to say this is right when he came out. I think it was like maybe a couple months. Yeah, I think it was like right after he'd come out, and so the film really is having a lot of fun with the concept that he's faking being gay, which is something that was a thing in the first two, but he really leans into it here. He has this whole musical number where he sings, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," and again, I really don't think we appreciate Neil Patrick Harris enough. I know I mentioned Lemony Snicket's, but look at him in Gone Girl. Uh, he might be better than Affleck in that for me. I think Neil Patrick Harris is excellent in that movie, and seeing him here doing what he, let's be real, it's kind of born to do as far as singing, acting, dancing. He's just such a showman. He is actually in the movie with his partner, his husband David, and they play it off for a joke, which, I mean, credit to them for being able to make fun of themselves. Uh, they make out in front of these reporters, and the reporter even goes, "Oh my God, that's so hot." And they get behind closed doors, they get into Neil's dressing room, and he goes, "Oh my God, like, why'd you kiss me like that? Like, I wanted to be convincing, not gay as shit." I was like, whoa, oh my God. Like, it's so funny. And there's a scene where he's gonna like get himself off using this girl, using this woman. They said, "Hey, come in my dressing room, rehearse lines, and I'll give you some pointers." You're like, oh my God, you're a monster. It's but he gets kicked in the face, and the movie itself knows how to walk that line between tasteless but still giving you a really hard laugh, which admittedly is a really hard line to walk, especially now, because I feel like everything is just, politicized and scrutinized so much. But this movie really has no qualms about the fact it will probably offend you. There's a scene where Adrian, Kumar's quote best friend unquote, goes ahead and is trying to have sex with his virgin. It's a subplot that leads to a pretty amazing beer pong game. As someone who loves beer pong, I always appreciate seeing it in a movie. That's a great gag. There is a scene where they turn into where they take drugs, go figure, or they get drugged, and they have this claymation scene. And that scene in particular scared the absolute hell out of me, because I was very high when I watched it. And just some of the lyrics here, "It's a very jolly day for you to die. I bet you wish you weren't so fucking high. Most New Yorkers don't know how to drive." I was like, wow, this is like, this is really fucked up, but it's really played for laughs. And the way that the claymation, they take advantage of how gruesome things can get using the claymation is actually really well done. But there's so much fun to be had in this movie. There's a point where Santa gets shot, and yet they're still able to recover from it. Like, as gruesome of a scene as that is, I incredibly appreciate how ballsy this film is. I was upset because Neil Patrick Harris goes, like, "I'll help you guys out. Like, we'll see you on the fourth one." And we didn't get a fourth movie because, Kal Penn had to go work for, President Obama and shit, work at the White House. And John Cho's continued on to a really damn great film career, which I really don't think he's given enough credit for. I can't wait to see Cowboy Bebop in live action. And if you guys have listened to the podcast for a little while, my incredible respect and reverence for that film Searching that John Cho starred in, that I thought was absolutely excellent. If you have not seen Searching, it is well worth your time to rent. Hell, buy it. Searching is an incredible movie if you haven't seen it. But this movie does a great job with the gags. There is one last gag I'll bring up. There's this other point where Kumar is trying to make up for the fact he burned down the first tree, and so they go to this tree lot, and it's ran by I'm blanking on the other actor's name, but the RZA is one of the people uh, who owns this tree lot, and they're and they're playing, but basically, ghetto black guy, like straight black guy. Like one of them's like, "Oh, hey man, like it's good, it's totally fine," and the one's like, basically like, "What you want, motherfucker?" And that made me acting real ghetto, and that in particular, that scene really made me laugh. I think the line that RZA drops like, "Oh, what? We can't own a tree lot? We should be swinging from like monkeys." And Harold's like, "Whoa, calm the fuck down." I thought that was so fucking funny. And the movie again, it pushes the envelope in a way. I went, I'm engaged, and I'm all for this. Uh, I would do a companion piece. I would do a double feature. I probably will before we even get to Christmas, but I'm gonna do a double feature of this and the night before, which I'm also gonna review at some point for the series. I had so much fun with this. This was such a fun surprise because again, I haven't seen this in almost a decade since it came out in theaters, and I had so much fun with this. I was laughing. I cried a little bit as far as because I was laughing so hard, and it really talks about just yes, French, yes, life changes, but there are those people that you should keep close to you. And Harold and Kumar, they're just destined to be friends. And I thought that was actually really sweet the way they do bring them back together and kind of have them get over their trivial shit. So I would give this a solid B plus. I thought this was a lot of fun. If I had seen this at a theater, if I'd seen this at like a later in the evening matinee, like a 4 o'clock or like a 5 o'clock, I would have gone, yeah, this was well worth it. But enjoyed this, well worth your time. It's on HBO Max, is how I watched it. So if you have HBO Max, watch it on there. It's an absolute blast. But everyone, very Harold and Kumar Christmas. Which one of the three is your favorite? Like I said, this is my favorite one. Do you think Guantanamo Bay or just the original is better? Let me know. You can go ahead and like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. Go ahead and follow our new page, Real Games. We'll have some streaming stuff for you here soon. I'll have announcements about that as we get closer. But yeah, follow, like us on Facebook, like the page at Real Games. That's REEL Games. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearman the First. And you can go ahead and follow us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple and Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio, TuneUp, Spotify, and Amazon Music at The Real Pineapple. We'll have other Christmas reviews up for you guys this month, including A Charlie Brown Christmas, Elf, oh my goodness, what else? Die Hard, all of the other reindeer, just to name a few. And we'll also have a review day of for Wonder Woman 84. That is going to be on HBO Max, as most of you know. I'll have a review up for that by 2 p.m. Pacific. I'm really excited to review that and get that and see if they can go ahead and avoid the sequelitis. But everyone, please stay safe out there. We're close to a vaccine. Please hang in there, everyone. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Wear a mask. And we will talk to you all soon. All right. Thank you so much for your support, and stay safe out there. Talk to you soon.